I have an idea. Does anyone have... Ooh, and Cece runs into their room and comes back with a blanket around their neck and ties it and says, I saw this movie called Lord of the Rings. We'll tell them we're doing a prototype. We're
LARPing. We're LARPing.
Well, I was thinking we could say,
what is
Happy Halloween!
It's a live action role playing. It's
to be fair,
play. Yeah, you dress up a character, you have swords, and you...
Yes, I'll get more blankets, and I come back with more blankets, and I give everyone a blanket to put around themselves.
I don't think we have time.
To be fair, it might not be out of place for a group called the Historical Preservation Society to have historical artifacts with them already.
Yeah, we could also say that this is coming from the last house we were at, like, that what we pick on the way, though I don't know how linked to the Titanic that would
I'm sure plenty of people on the Titanic had swords. I mean, who doesn't love a good sword, right?
Why would you bring
do a lot of
sword on,
sword fighting?
Isn't it more shuffleboard and things?
Blame it on rich people.
Oh, but sometimes shuffleboard gets a little violent, you know.
Okay.
I would know.
This is Once Upon a Monster of the Week.
Reddington, where a person can become a body and then a person again. Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back to our quality time with the Reddington Historical Preservation Society. If you don't quite remember what happened last time, that's perfectly fine. I shall catch you up. Last time we observed them, the Reddington Historical Preservation Society was tasked with planning a very important town event. Yes, we have so many of those. But unlike the fall festival that needs to happen, the Titanic exhibit is a wonderful show of our town history. We met Cece, Delilah, Isolde, and Morgan, and learned that Cece is Isolde's new roommate. Isolde is not a serial killer or mortician, but definitely can talk to ghosts, and maybe is involved with one? Delilah and Morgan both have been using the Reddington Historical Preservation Society building as a home base, and are now forced to acknowledge that they are building mates. The four started off to collect artifacts from the town founding families. Unfortunately, when meeting with the McFadens, a poltergeist attacked Cece and left with one of the journals. Let's see how they're dealing with that attack, shall we?
Isolde's still trying to keep an eye out, is going to go tend to Cece and just see if they're... because just saw them go down, so is gonna just try and check up on them. I'm just gonna kind of check a bit for responsiveness, and I'm assuming I probably see some kind of bump on the back of their head. It's just kind of snapping a bit in their ear, like, Cece, you alright? That was a bit of a nasty fall. Oh gosh, got you in the head. Alright, so everybody keep an eye out.
Thankfully, Cece is not too harmed. She is definitely going to need a thorough checkout after this.
Well, Cece would just sort of flutter her eyes and be a little worried and, I don't know, look around, probably stay very still, honestly, just in case something's gonna hit them again.
I don't think it's gonna... Are you alright, Cece?
Cece nods her head, then shakes it, then closes her eyes, then nods.
Oh, I'm not sure which one you meant. You know what? How about you stay here? I'm going to, Morgan, how goes it with the other?
Good question. How goes it with the other? I believe Morgan is, doing something similar, checking if there's a pulse, if the person is still alive.
The woman is still alive and is coming to. There is a vase broken nearby, and based on her injuries, she was likely knocked out by it.
Morgan just, slaps gently the cheek of the lady, like, ma'am, up, and then hears, Isolde. I think so. She's alive. she's alive, so that's good.
Very good.
Ma'am, can you hear me? Pinches a little bit, like, the arm, just to get some responsiveness.
Oh, yes, I'm here. That hurt. Oh, who are you? Why are you in my house?
Okay. Well, we were looking for a book, but, we saw the door was open, and so we just entered because everything was ransacked, and your house is a mess because of something right now. And apologies. Are you alright? You were on the ground, you seem to have been knocked out. Maybe you should go to the hospital, check that out.
How do I know you didn't knock me out and ransack my house, and are now trying to play it off like you didn't?
No, I
Where's my cell phone? I need to call 911.
Well, yes, we were also going to do that for you because
but
you've been
also no.
injured.
We could overhear this from the entry room, right? The living room. I'm just gonna insert myself into the conversation.
Go ahead. Please. Come and save them.
I am sorry, ma'am. We're with the Reddington Historical Preservation Society. We were supposed to be receiving some donations from the McFadden family, and when we arrived, well, this is what we found.
Oh.
Yeah, what she said. Exactly.
Mrs. McFadden looks at Morgan with an evil look, then turns back to Delilah.
Yes, that's right. I do remember you were coming around today. Could you get me some ice?
Sure.
There's the fridge over there.
Morgan scrambles up and, goes to the freezer. They try. Grab some ice, put them in a cloth, and sit to the lady.
What happened to my house? What happened to my house?
We were hoping maybe, you could give us some of those answers.
I remember going to the kitchen to make lunch, and the doorbell rang. And that's the last thing I remember.
So Isolde can probably hear this at this point. She wanders into the kitchen. Oh, that's strange. They don't usually ring the doorbell.
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked. Are you all right? Are you feeling all right?
Yes. How many people are in my house right now?
Just you and the four of us and the poltergeist.
Okay, well, clearly right now is not a good time to pick up the stuff for the Historical Society, is it?
Oh, certainly not.
I would ask for you to please leave my house. I'm going to call for the doctor.
May not be entirely safe. I don't mean to argue with you, but I'm Isolde, by the way. We're all colleagues. I don't...
Cece has, because they're a little concerned that the poltergeist might be at standing height. So Cece is rolling over and just sort of continuing to roll into the kitchen.
You can't fall if you're already on the ground.
You can't fall if you're already on the ground, exactly.
And props themselves up on their elbows and looks at this woman and says, if you don't mind, since there is a poltergeist, and looks at Isolde.
Yes.
A poltergeist here, could you just give us this stuff and we'll never come back?
But the poltergeist would still be here?
No, but so we don't have to come back for whatever, Titanic stuff?
Fine. It's on the dining room table. Just go, please. Grab the box. Someone hand me a cell phone so I can call for medical help. Thank you.
Cece nods and gets up and sort of, on all fours, crawls towards the table and slowly pulls themselves up and grabs the box and goes back under the table, waiting for everyone.
Is there a box on the table, for the record?
Isn't that what you just said? Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was actually on the table.
Yeah.
Or gone.
The box is there. It looks like it's been rifled through. And Cece can see broken glass in it.
What's the broken thing?
It looks like a broken whiskey glass with RSS Titanic on it.
A whiskey glass? Is there, something on the whiskey glass? Do you know what I'm saying? Just a regular old plain one, or is there an engraving on it, or?
Mrs. McFadden's grandfather was holding it and never let it go during the boat sinking. Someone eventually took it from him when he got on the rescue ship and returned it later.
Miss McFadden, just because it's very obvious that someone has been in your house, could you verify this was everything that your family was donating to the exhibit?
Cece pushes the box out from under the table.
Sure.
She takes a moment to look through the box, then says,
No! Who broke the glass? You guys broke something already?
No, it was like this. It was like this when we found it.
Likely the poltergeist. They'd love to do that.
There's a missing notebook. Other than that, maybe it's around here somewhere. Already stealing my grandfather's stuff.
Oh.
I can't believe it.
I'm terribly sorry. I may have told the poor dear that they could have it. I didn't quite understand, but I was hoping that nobody else would get hurt.
Cece sort of looks up at Isolde with just all the love emanating from their heart.
Every word that comes out of your mouth sounds more and more insane. No, I think I need an ambulance right now.
I don't have a cell phone. Can we...
Mrs. McFadden's eyes roll back.
Shut up, so I can pass out peacefully.
As she collapses into a faint again.
Oh dear. Is there a landline here?
Are they small? We could carry them out?
We go into the house, we come out with a body. Session 2.
A body and a
It's
box.
not a body if she's alive.
It's not a body if she's alive.
She's technically a full person still.
I mean, it's technically a body.
It's not Historical Preservation Society. It's not a body if it's alive.
We are preserving.
We're preserving the history.
We were told to preserve.
I mean,
told to preserve.
she's a full-grown woman. I don't think I could carry her. Maybe if we're two, maybe somebody carries the arm and the other one carries the leg.
That's what I'm saying. We have 2 boxes, right? And 2 extra people.
Are we gonna take her back?
I guess Isolde had better work on her embalming techniques.
Yeah, she's gotta go full Antigone fun at this point.
I mean, we do have the biolab, right? There's gonna be stuff there.
We are not putting somebody in the biolab, just please.
Well, we have to determine if it's a
She's
person
gonna
or a
wake
body.
up. She's gonna wake up.
Did anyone sorry, sidebar. I can't remember. Did someone say in character, let's carry her out, or was it like okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So, Oh my god, my stomach. Okay. Oh my god. We just kidnap a whole woman.
Hey, at least it's not part of a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That's true. So Isolde kind of off of that suggestion kind of blinks and goes, if we're calling the ambulance, I think she might be more comfortable here.
Yeah, I mean, where would we even put her? Yeah, we should call the ambulance. That sounds like a...
Is there one of those old-fashioned cell phones? The ones that are built into the wall? The ones with circles on it?
I have a cell phone. I can call. It's just that...
That would be great.
Is it... Can they track the phone call? I just don't feel really comfortable. I would like to give, an anonymous tip or something. I feel like we're not exactly doing... I mean, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Right. We're all
Morally,
good.
no. Morally, no. At least I don't think.
Why don't we call Wendy and then Wendy can call for an ambulance, because Wendy will understand.
Morgan has decided that they will call the cops. They are taking this decision. And they call the cops. Well, 911? Isn't that what you're supposed to...
Maybe an ambulance?
That's not...
An ambulance, perhaps?
EMT, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
911.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello, we're at the bad in the house, and there's a lady who fell unconscious, which we have found unconscious, but then she woke up and she fell unconscious again. But I mean, maybe she's like more hurt than she said she was. So maybe we could have an ambulance, please.
Hold on. I'm sorry. You found a woman unconscious? What's the address?
It's what's the address?
15 Maple Avenue Drive.
15 Maple Avenue Drive.
Okay. We have an ambulance on its way. It'll be a few minutes. Let me get a few more details. You say she was unconscious when you found her?
Yeah, the door was open and we were there to get some stuff for the... Anyway,
Then she woke up, and what happened?
So Morgan just puts, like, their hand on the phone, like, do I give more details? Should I give more details? Is that...
Hello?
I think you should give it to Isolde. Give it to Isolde.
Yes.
Excuse me?
I'm just, I'm sorry, we're kind of in a hurry.
Wait, I'm gonna need you to stay at the scene. You're gonna need to talk to the authorities about this.
So sorry. Morgan hangs up. Sorry, I got nervous.
So, we know not to let you deal with any hostage negotiations in the future.
Are we supposed to get hostages for this? This is a very strange job.
I think that, I mean, if we want, you mean like if we have taken a stage or something like that? Because that's an entire different situation. Like, we would be responsible in that situation.
That's true. What did they
I feel
say?
like I would be more confident in that situation. Sorry, what, Cece?
So are they coming? Can we go?
Oh yeah, we have to go. I don't want to be here.
In the distance, the group can hear the sounds of emergency vehicles coming.
Go.
Is there a back door?
There's a back door.
Cece grabs the box and bolts out the back door.
What about the poltergeist, though? Is it still here?
I am running. I am jumping fences.
You're doing great. Love it.
I'm gonna go and close and lock the front door if possible.
No.
This is...
We look very suspicious right now.
But locking the front door, I mean, they're gonna come out from the back door. Like, they're gonna go through the back door.
Well, ideally, they'll go to the front first and ring the bell.
So at this point, Isolde just stands there, like, is trying to tune in and see if the poltergeist is still there, and then just sees the door being locked, and kind of goes, "No, I've not done things like this before, but I do think they're going to think that we attempted to murder this woman, and that would be the second time today that I'd be accused of being a murderer. So, are we ready to go?"
I think we should leave the door open.
Based on the phone call this one just had.
Listeners, can you hear the sirens getting closer?
Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
We're going.
Friendly reminder that Reddington is a small town.
How far have I gotten?
At this point, Cece is now blocks away while the rest of the society is still standing around in the backyard. But how did Cece get away so quickly?
Kangaroo legs or something like that.
Cece gets over the first fence with ease.
Mm-hmm.
Should we leave a note?
We're already in the backyard, right? Are we still in the house?
Do you want to cut out newspaper stories too?
I know, we're out, but then, like, yes. We're gonna second thought, and, like, maybe we should have left a note.
Now that's a little more hostagey, I think.
No, but, like, sorry, we're not responsible for the mess. Cheers. The Historical Preservation Society. No.
Smiley face, maybe, if we have to.
Well, it starts with a smiley face.
It's not a bad idea, but we are well out of the house by now, and we likely will get caught.
Yeah. Alright, let's just run.
Meanwhile, as a stressed Cece leaps between backyards and over a second fence, their legs turn back to normal. Cece tumbles to the ground, but doesn't take any more harm. But she needs to be careful, Cece, because it is dangerous out there and could get bad for her pretty soon.
That's fair. That is very fair.
Do we just see her eat it?
Do we see any of that?
Some of the Reddington Historical Preservation Society and a few innocent bystanders see a kangaroo fail to make it over the fence. Of course, Morgan is not one of them.
I feel like Cece sort of like, because one leg is over the fence and the other one is behind, just sort of bites it in a forward roll, type thing.
What happens to the box?
Well, they're holding on to it for dear life. So it's, a forward roll, it's just sort of a side shoulder thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
There was glass in that box.
Yeah, I was like, there's no more glass in that box.
Oh, I think
powder now.
It is very likely, the whiskey glass just off it goes, and I've completed the breaking of the whiskey glass. Things I'm guessing probably topple out of the box as well.
Cece, we would really prefer you to not take more damage.
I will take more care of myself.
Cece rolls to safety, but is the box still okay?
Yeah, it's like, it's somehow I have a doubt about that. I don't know.
Oh no, I think the box is probably fine. I'm presuming it's a little bit banker's boxy. I think it's more like some things tumbled out. Whiskey glass probably got, I might have some, I would suggest like some bruises and scrapes on the arm from, rolling. Legs probably a little bit wobbly, and the back of the head reminding that this is a bad day. From the poltergeist.
It is definitely a bad day.
Yeah, but I think Cece would sort of stay down for a second, and then again start crawling and putting things back in the box and listening for what's going on.
Let's check back in with the rest of the Reddington Historical Preservation Society. Did they decide to leave a note?
Oh, no. We were already outside, kind of running, and then the idea, right? But, no, we were running by that point. Also, are there really fences that we have to cross as our poor human selves? Okay.
There are other options for escape for those who are unfortunately permanently human, at least for now. Cece has made it to a safe spot to sit after tumbling onto the sidewalk.
Oh, tumbled onto the sidewalk. Okay.
Well, that went relatively, I was gonna say well, but then, no, kind of poorly.
Okay,
so what is...
Can we see the ambulances like we're on the sidewalk?
We're fine.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Is all that... So the poltergeist, you seem to have, like, communicated with it quite...
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's sort of, well, they're always quite eager for someone to listen at all, so even though they're not exactly my forte, they usually cling on to the nearest person they can talk to. Normally that's a very troubled person, so I don't really want to think about that all that much, but what I did get was, it's after, the truth, it says, and I managed to tide it over with that journal. It has something to do with the ship, the Titanic. The truth about the Titanic? Have we been... we've all been lied to about the Titanic.
Did it not collided with an iceberg and sank?
I don't know how you would say anything like that.
Could it be a truth with one of the families?
Could also be that.
Considering the notebooks or what it's after?
Could be that. Yes, I suppose if it had the journals from the McFaddens, then it might have been after something that the families were uncovering.
What are the chances that it's gonna be at the next house?
Oh, well, I suppose it depends on how many secrets the next house has, doesn't it?
Should we, like, call all of them to just be like, hey, careful, there might be something coming after you? But that might
perhaps,
sound weird.
It might be following us now, it might be in the box, you never know.
Morgan, just
At Morgan's comment, a slow, cold wind comes through, shaking a few leaves of the tree, leaving the group feeling uneasy.
Nice.
So I would say we don't call the two remaining families and give them an ominous message that something is after them.
Oh, that might...
Well, when you say it like that.
Based on your previous phone call to emergency services.
Yes, that might come off the wrong way.
Yeah, now that you mention it.
We're starting to look a lot more like those robberies.
Yeah, especially when we say like we still have two hours left to do,
2 houses.
As the group rounds the corner, Cece finishes collecting everything in the box.
Okay, all right.
I would like to hope we're not running either.
All together now, the group gets another block away from the McFadden house before slowing their pace, deciding not to look too suspicious. Every so often, Delilah puts a hand on Morgan's arm to remind them to slow down to a casual stroll.
We're cool. We're cool.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't
No,
be suspicious.
Yeah, okay. So in that case, yeah, Cece has been quiet regardless. But is sort of walking on the inside with the box and taking a social cue from everyone else and being cool.
What kind of cool is Cece being right now?
She's not snapping her fingers because she's holding the box.
That's the only reason she's not.
No, I think Cece's actually doing pretty well. Like, her knee's a little bruised and they're, all of it's sort of on their right side and, but they're holding the box. They're trying not to be woozy. They're trying to be cool and listening to everything everyone else is saying and gonna make them proud and, walking along, not gonna freak out. And I think that's the mantra that Cece's saying to themselves. I'm not gonna freak out. I'm not gonna fall down. I'm not going to tell them about the whiskey glass.
Nice.
There's a lot of... That's
broken.
an interesting little sound coming from that box. Cece, is everything all right?
What? I mean, I'm fine.
The box, it sounds like there's broken glass in the box. I just don't want you to cut yourself.
Oh, no, it's okay. I've already, scraped myself up, so no, I didn't cut myself.
All right. We'll just let me know if anything's wrong. Goodness me. Okay.
I will. No, it's all right.
Okay.
I got everything. I got everything,
Okay.
including the broken glass. So that's what you're hearing.
But it was already broken. I think
It was already broken. I'm not
of.
so concerned about the whiskey glass. I'm going to be honest. I'm not so
really?
concerned about the whiskey glass. Well,
Oh,
I'm
good,
sure it was a
because,
lovely antique, but
I
you
got
know.
as much as I could, but there was a lot on the ground, and there's probably still some, but I got as much as I could. So I'm really glad to hear no one cares.
I mean, I'm sure someone cares.
Someone will care.
but
Someone always
not
cares about
us.
these antiques, but whatever.
Cece decides to go back to being quiet and walking in a cool way.
Morgan keeps shooting glances behind them in a very non-suspicious way.
I feel like the four of us are very tightly, in a phalanx.
Yeah.
At one point, Morgan sees a hulking man in a jacket. Thankfully, they remember that it is the fall and likely not someone hiding a weapon.
So, where should we go? It'd be, and Cece sort of shakes their head. It would be, I might be bleeding a little.
Oh,
What?
But so I'm wondering where we're going.
I mean, I should have a first aid kit. So, yeah, I just kind of, start looking through this messenger bag that I've been carrying around. It's, the older canvas one.
I have a dissection kit if you want, but I don't think it's gonna
Dissection
help.
kit with you. Okay, so we are ready to take hostages. Okay. Just in case we run across a frog,
Or something. I just start, going through this messenger bag, pushing aside, the taser and, the weird knife I have in there. Looking for, a first aid kit in this messenger bag.
Delilah pauses for a moment. Then she remembers where she left it. It is definitely not in this bag.
Well, if we head back to the Historical Society, I may have some stuff stashed away there already.
Oh, that'd be good.
all right. Sounds like a plan. We better hurry if you're able, Cece.
I swear I had something in my bag.
Um,
I'm trying to look. Nope.
I don't think I should hurry like I did before. I think I'll hurry like I am now.
Right.
You can walk with us. That's
Mhm.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Could someone else take the box?
Yeah, sure.
someone-
And Morgan grabs a box, immediately.
Is there anyone who could maybe on my right, on my left side, not my right, just hold.
Do you want to
help?
sit down? We probably have time to sit down.
No,
right?
no, I don't. Mm-mm.
As the group gets back to the Historical Society building, they find it noticeably different. A nicer brick 2-story building with an inviting kind of feel now stands in front of them. While it looks slightly familiar, it's definitely not the same building that it was earlier that day.
Did we get turned around by any chance?
This isn't the university.
Are we at the right place?
Oh, wait, there's your Vespa.
And there's the bicycle.
They also see a nice new sign that says Reddington Historical Preservation Society.
That is weird.
Maybe they moved it.
I mean, weird shit happens around this town. So much.
Morgan is just staring at the building, like, mouth open.
So they better not have moved my stuff, though.
Oh, hold on, wait, so your stuff is in the building?
Yes.
Are you sure? This building?
I don't know if it's this building or not, but the building we visited earlier, I had been, making use of.
Listeners, you may not know this, but Delilah and Morgan are already familiar with the weird things that go on in this building. But most of those weird things, they could ignore or explain away. But me getting the Historical Preservation Society building ready while they were gone is not that weird.
A little unnerving, I'm not going to lie. Rather quick construction.
Just don't question it too much, I guess. The inside.
That's probably best.
There's a lot unnerving about this town, if you haven't noticed.
Oh, I certainly, yes.
Cece sort of reels back and forth a little bit and just starts maybe crawling towards the stairs.
Oh my goodness. Let's start going inside. All right. Okay. And I'm just kind of trying to get Cece up on their feet, like, it's all right. It's okay. Opening the door.
Thank you.
Kind of looking up. Yep.
Is the inside the same?
The inside of the building now has a small town museum vibe. There is a new open area where events and exhibits can be set up.
Aww.
So, like, a lot of polished wood and glass and stuff.
Are there little dioramas or maps or anything like that?
Yes, I'm so proud of these. There is now side exhibits, a collection of maps in one room, giving the building a more permanent museum collection vibe. It still needs a good bit of work. There is also a sign that says authorized personnel only.
Authorized personnel.
Yeah. How easy is it to, like, find back our ways into our havens if everything changes? And is it, like you said, that it's not the same time, it's not the first time that it changes?
Delilah and Morgan are definitely used to this building being a bit off, but it was always in an explainable kind of way. I have watched them talk themselves into believing that they had just forgotten that they had brewed a coffee when one appeared when they needed it most. This is likely because they've both been living in this building knowing someone else was there too, but not quite knowing who. Being faced with the building's changes, well, you can't ignore something magical about me.
Yeah. A lot more change. Okay.
I think Cece is just thinking that there probably are more than one historical preservation buildings, dotted throughout the town. But they also would be really interested when they're not about to collapse in coming back and really looking at those maps.
So yeah, we go, through the authorized personnel entryway.
Unfortunately for Cece, it does open to a staircase.
There should be railings. It's a government building.
Between Isolde and maybe someone pushing their butt and holding onto railings and crawling a bit, and there's a lot of floor work, I think, for Cece.
It's just like Cat's choreography.
Sorry, we don't have the elevator in this building.
There's clearly no elevator.
The doors at the top of the stairs open to what looks like a cozy hallway. The floors are carpeted, the walls are wooden, and down the hall there's a door with a name of each of the Reddington Historical Preservation Society member.
I'm not sure Cece's seeing straight at this point, so...
I'm gonna go to my door and really hope that the office is essentially the same of what I'm using. The endless rows of, storage and files.
Delilah opens her door to find her haven. She is able to get to work and help Cece.
Morgan looks at their door and they're like, but my lab is downstairs. Sounds so weird. Looked at Delilah and the other and just like peeks through their door. Is it the lab or is it something else?
Morgan finds what looks like an office, but there is a large door on the back of the wall as well.
Okay. They're definitely curious. They really want to go. But they have something else to do, I guess. So they close back the door and goes with... It's just like... later, hopefully it will still be there. And goes with the... Because I assume everyone is following Delilah since Delilah was saying that, or...
No, Cece is up against the wall or sprawled on the floor or something. No, Cece has reached a landing and is staying.
Can there be like a conveniently placed bench in the hallway?
I don't know that Cece would use it. If it was
Yeah, but we could prop her against it.
They find a glass display case normally used to show the upcoming events to prop Cece against.
As long as everything is in the same place. I go and find my first aid kit where I've probably left it on a table or something that I meant to pack. It's definitely well worn. And someone has clearly had to use plenty of first aid in the past.
I think Isolda's not even gonna pay attention to the room with her name on it for now and just kind of squat beside Cece. Like, I know this can't be very comfortable, but I'm sure Delilah knows exactly what she's going for.
Cece's just kind of, since it's safe now, is more or less with their head against the wall and their back against the display case, and it's more or less good to fall asleep if someone doesn't stop them from doing that.
Don't let her fall asleep, it might be a concussion.
Cece, hello.
Hey, Mom.
Isolda just kind of blinks. No, dear, it's Isolda. Just gotta make sure that you stay awake with us just for a bit.
Okay.
Apparently it could be a concussion, and that sounds dreadful. So
it's not a concussion.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Right. So that's kind of why we have to be careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want water? I have water. I think it could be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Morgan hands you their bottle of water.
And I'll drink. Thank you.
Yeah, Delilah comes back after a few minutes because her haven used to like take up the entire top floor.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's just it's just stacks and stacks of books and objects.
Amazing.
So yeah, she just like comes back toting this industrial like first aid kit.
Just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking of, there probably is a big welt right on the back of the head, and that is probably what's bleeding the most. With probably the next being the what the heck is this? The right arm, scrapes and things like that, but like not too bad. It's sort of crusted over. And same thing with her right thigh is kind of in nasty shape, but otherwise, it's the back of the head that's the worst.
I just apply basic first aid as I have had to learn how to do that to myself. And I just kind of repeat the same process.
While Delilah is doing that, Morgan turns to Isolda about that poltergeist. So, how do we get rid of it? Is that like try to help them find all the notebooks they're looking for, but then we'll probably lose those notebooks, or try to resolve the mystery, the truth, look after the truth, right? Or is there a way to like get rid of it, or is that not what we want to do?
The way to get rid of it is probably giving it what it wants. That tends to be the way these things go. They're rather stubborn.
Cece is feeling better.
Yep.
The first aid has worked. Once Cece gets a good night's sleep, she will be as good as new.
If Isolda would let Delilah point her towards her office, using the lore library.
Oh, Isolda has a lore library?
Yeah. So
it's a whole ass library.
in your office?
Like I said, her office is like an entire just
archive.
Library and archive. There's an armory and everything.
I thought Delilah had gone into Isolda's office.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm following you now.
No, my haven has a lore library, an armory, and a panic room. We need it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That sounds great.
So Isolda kind of comes face to face with Delilah's office and was like, wow, has this always been here?
I mean, for the most part, some things were found, some things came with me when I moved to Reddington, and I needed somewhere to store them.
Right, that must have been quite the move. It's rather extensive. You have something on poltergeists? There's just one little thing. I don't know if
I mean, there's a lot of stuff on a lot of stuff in here.
I'll take a look. I know kind of what I'm looking for. I just want to make sure I'm not leading us in the wrong direction. Not exactly my forte.
Just try not to get lost. The stacks have a way of getting people turned around.
Well, I will try my best. Sounds risky, but rather exciting, so...
Isolde has dealt with enough poltergeists to know they have a place they have to return to in order to recover. They are able to haunt and cause mischief with a much larger range than a normal ghost, but they are just as tied to something in death as any ghost is. Isolde realizes that this is likely where they went with the journal she gave them. To recap, listeners, one journal is with the poltergeist, and the other is at Isolde's house.
I'm going to wander from the lore library, and I'm going to wander back around, just thinking and just looking at the exhibits in the Historical Preservation Society, and thinking about that it wanted the truth, and we know it's after these journals, and I'm trying to come up with any kind of inkling, especially based off of like how upset Mercy seemed to be as well.
As Isolde processes and digests what's happened, she finds herself in a new part of Delilah's haven. The archive appears to have an entire section of just journals, and she looks up to find journals 1700 to 1705.
Just kind of takes in a breath. What are we missing here? And is gonna just go for a journal that I think maybe kind of almost calls to her in the right time bracket.
Before we see which journal Isolde grabs for,
ever find yourself in a pickle and no way to escape? Ever need a moment to breathe as you get from one side of town to the other? Hi, I'm Artie, the best cab driver in town. Call me at the Flying Dutchman Cab Company anytime, any place, and I'll be there in a jiffy to come pick you up. Even if you're trying to hide from Wendy.
let's get a quick look at what everyone else is doing.
Making sure that Cece is not dying on me.
Yeah, Cece's coming around. She's taken a couple of deep breaths and then maybe even taken advantage of standing up, which is pretty impressive. I think Cece would start seeing the doors and things and be a little curious that their name is on one of them.
Are we in Delilah's cabin right now?
I thought we were in the hallway.
I thought we were in the hallway.
Okay, yeah. Okay, it's on the Isolde. Okay. Morgan's gonna put her hand on Delilah's shoulder just to like get her head attention and be like, so you've had that for a while, right?
Yeah, give or take a few years.
Okay, so you're here often.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like the other person that's here often? I mean, you know, the notes, or like getting milk and sugar.
Are you here often?
Yeah? I mean, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Are you the one who used the last of the chocolate creamer?
To my defense, I had really planned on getting more, like, straight away. But there was a mess up with my experiment, and I had to do it again, and, like, waited another 4 hours, and by the time store was closed. So,
that's what the smell was.
But, yeah, probably. But, I mean, the vents from the basement goes up all the way in the building. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's smells sometimes.
We'll work on it.
Good to meet you. Sorry about the creeper.
Morgan, we're in the same meetings once a month.
I know, but it's like a different kind of circumstances. You know, it's not TA stuff. It's weirder stuff.
I mean, sure. I've just been approaching it like the roommate you don't really see, works completely different shifts than you.
Yeah.
That really, really needs to buy more creamer when they use the last of it.
I swear, look, and Morgan gets their phone and, like, shows you that it's their notes that they have to buy, like, to buy grocery list. And, like, it's like the first item at the fucking top. Look, I swear, I really planned on buying it. I'm sorry.
I mean, at this point, we can probably just get Wendy to pick up those kind of things if she's gonna be here all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cece is, still a little woozy and not particularly interested in whatever their deal is with creamer. But again, they have noticed their name on the door, which in my mind is like on the extreme left. And they're curious, but they also have had a very rough day. And nothing is correct. And so they've crept to the door, standing up. And they really wish, actually, that Morgan would maybe not be there so that they could, turn into something ferocious. But, you don't want to give everything away. And so they've got their back to the door and they're slowly turning the doorknob and they're like inching the door open and trying to see if there's anything evil inside that's going to hit them. And I don't know what they see.
This time, Cece does not find any danger, but instead the perfect office for her. Here, I'll have them tell you about it.
Cece, okay. I mean, Cece doesn't want an office. I could tell you what Cece's perfect room is. There'd be like a lot of plants, practically jungly. And there'd be a very lush bed, in the corner that's a little bit like, it goes up. So it's like kind of like a dog bed for humans. But with like a lot of space and a ton of pillows. And there might be like a desk or a table or something that they could put their backpack on and things like that. And there would definitely be at least 3 places to hide.
Does Cece have like one of those like 1970s like sunken beds?
Meet me in the conversation pit.
That would be amazing. Yes.
What are those?
Oh, it's so cool.
Those leisure beds. They're like built into the floor, and they're just like cushions.
It's like a bed hole.
Yes.
A bed pit, yeah.
And I think there would be sort of a sense of natural-ish type lighting from the ceiling, as much as possible, but not necessarily windows. No carpeting, so like tile floor, tile or like faux marble. Whatever. I mean, if there's any sort of structures, they're all iron wrought. I think if they're opening the door and like, again, sniffing or whatever, I think the first sense of like plant life and nature would calm Cece down a lot. So I think they would continue opening the door, and when they caught the skylight, being able to look up and see that. And I think there's a sense of, oh my gosh, is this real? They also look around to see if there's any green tigers. A little sad that there aren't. And then sort of closes the door and stays in the hallway just in case they have passed out. And this is a dream. And then opens the door again, and it's not. And then looks at the other 2 and sees that they're still talking. And so goes inside the door and closes it. Sees if there's a lock.
Oh, no.
Isn't sure what to do. Locks it just in case. And then goes and dives into the bed and rolls around in the pillows and is just like making a whole cacophony of different noises and sounds, which are all happy, but in a ton of different languages that would not necessarily have alphabets attached to them.
Do we hear that from out here?
Oh, you could definitely hear it. Cece is not quiet about their joy.
Okay, so the rooms are not soundproof. Got it.
Morgan just nods silently.
Do we need to check on her?
I mean, they sound fine to me.
You hear a baboon happiness?
More than fine. Yeah, more than fine. That's odd. But that does sound like a positive sound. That also...
They may have just given them a zoo.
You know what? Yeah, that's the explanation I'm gonna go with. That sounded very... not human.
Moo!
So, should we check on Isolde then? Or...
Yeah, I mean, did I hear them? I think I heard a lock, so I think that Sissy actually locked their door, so...
Yeah, I'm just gonna,
let's check on Isolde, yeah.
Knock on Cece's door, just like, hey, we're gonna go check in my office for Isolde. If you feel like joining us, or if you need to take a nap or whatever, try not to get lost.
Can we pet the animals?
Cece considers that, and then in fact has turned themselves into a tiger and paws over to the door, turns into a hand for a second, unlocks and opens the door, then is back as a tiger, but is the cutest, biggest, smilingest, most coy tiger in the world, and puts their head right up against Morgan.
You see Morgan's eyes like go the widest possible, and like there's like a smile, but also a little bit like holy, like freaked out for a second because there's a big tiger there, and like they just stare with a smile, and oh my god, there's a tiger,
and the tiger nods intelligently and bats their eyes, as in you are correct, and then the tiger goes back in the room, shuts the door, and you hear a click again, and then you hear Cece's voice going, I'm gonna stay here in the zoo. I'll be back.
You see the tiger?
Yeah, I saw the tiger.
There was a tiger.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like I see a lot of shit sometimes. I've seen a lot of shit, but like a tiger in a building is somehow it's cooler than most of the shit I've seen.
You know, I've seen a lot today, so coming from Cece's room, that does not surprise me.
Listeners, remember how Isolde was hoping to find a journal to maybe help them with the poltergeist? Well, what she has actually found is her wife's journal.
Okay. All right. She's just sat herself down on the ground, back against the shelf, just like devouring this journal just as quickly as she can go through it. That's probably how they find her. And she, I guess upon seeing them, kind of looks up. Delilah, where did you get this one?
I don't know everything in here. Some of it just came from the town itself, I imagine. A lot of this information was just kind of repurposed from what was already here.
Flipping through some more.
Also,
do you think I can keep this or borrow it? I can go take a scan or something.
I mean, I don't know half the stuff that's in here in the first place. It's better to use the information than let it sit and rot. So,
right.
With how stuff happens in this town, I'm sure if it needs to come back, it'll find a way.
Yes, I'll have to take some scans. Have to make sure. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got completely sidetracked from what we were doing. Not exactly. I did recall what I thought I recalled, which was correct, which is that somewhere our poltergeisty little friend probably has a home of some kind that they've had to return to. But I couldn't for the life of me imagine where that would be. But you know, you'd think potentially with us if they're so concerned about this Titanic, but there's no telling, really, potentially with one of the other families.
I mean, we've got 2 more options, and then wherever the donations that have already arrived here have been shunted off to.
Yeah, it does that too.
Maybe
we should check it out since we're here.
There's probably a journal in the... We found... How many...
2.
We found a journal from each
family.
But we only have one.
Well, we know that the McFadden's had a journal, but it was long gone before we got our hands on it. And the one from Gunter is, what was it, just a bunch of numbers?
But it's at your place currently, Isolde.
Right.
So I hope the poltergeist doesn't.
Oh, I have someone at home that would give it hell. Don't worry.
You do?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
No need to worry.
Cool.
Yes, I'm just saying, if there's one with and I'm going to start to go to where we were, is the donated from the
Bowman ones?
The Bowman ones, do we know where those are currently since the building changed around?
The group goes back into the hall to find the Bowman box on top of the display case, waiting to be cataloged.
Isolde's gonna check it just for a journal or notebook of any kind.
Isolde does find a journal in the box.
Okay. Open it and take a look inside.
The journal belonged to a Douglas Bowman.
Well, 2 is a coincidence, but 3...
is a pattern?
Yes, I suspect we're after 2 more.
We should grab it with us, right?
Take it with us so that the place doesn't get ransacked in our absence?
Exactly. Yeah, and maybe going back to yours. Well, I know you said you had somebody protecting it at your place, but I don't know if you feel comfortable or leaving it there.
I'll go back and perhaps I have to take her with. I don't think we all respectfully. Actually, I'm going to nix that idea. We don't all know each other that well yet for that conversation. I think so.
Okay.
One day, I'm sure, but I'll go back to my place and meet you at. I suppose the Mitchinsons are not too far from here.
And if I take, like, the journal and flip through it, do I find anything interesting, or is it just daily life?
It is just a journal of his daily life, but it is dated from 1911 to 1912.
Anything written on the last entry?
Unfortunately, the journal ends the day before the Titanic sank.
I think Cece came out somewhere in the middle of that conversation. Very calm, listening. Taking it in, and I don't know that anyone would notice, but there's a little bit of a golden beard around his chin, and a more relaxed demeanor, and he just rubs off the golden beard and is normal again.
I don't think Morgan notices, but since it's gone so fast, like, they just blink. Oh, it's gone. What? In the file of there's weird shit going on with Cece.
I think Cece in this state would notice Morgan and just look for a second and then be casual.
Nod. Just nodding.
The group is now back in the hall holding several journals. 2 more offices are still there if they want to check them out.
Sure.
Listeners, if you haven't noticed the time, it is 7:30 Reddington Standard Time, in case you need to eat or something. We'll still be here, though.
Yeah, Isolde kind of notices her name on the door, name on the door, and goes, "Oh, they work fast around here, don't they?" Kind of gingerly takes the door, pushes it open, looks inside. It's only really an office in the layout, in the bare bones of what an office is, where there's a desk and there's and the rest is very much. There's a window that doesn't quite make sense to how the building's laid out. And outside of the window, it almost always seems like a rainy fall day, somehow, just in the way the light comes in. And there's an antique desk with lots of books. On one side is a bunch about the afterlife and death. The death ones vary from, spiritual and cultural practices to being, more medically minded. And then in the other kind of stack of books is a bunch of old novels, a couple romance paperbacks, and then there's a side table that has a kettle with a lot of her own selections of tea, a lot of which she kind of cooks up herself that have ended up here. I know, a couple more books, couple more shelves, comfortable seating otherwise, and in the corner there is both a rocking chair that's just about the right size for a China doll. And there is a turntable with a box of records, all kind of, I would say, 40s to 60s era jazz standards, largely. And she kind of takes it all in, goes over and flips through the records and goes, I think that's my copy from home. Certainly do work. Like, all right. Turns around and back out into the hallway. Right, journals, poltergeist, going back home. Everyone prepared to finish out the day. I know it's more than long enough to clock out at this point, but
Cece shrugs.
I do feel like we're kind of in a hurry. I don't know. I don't want the poltergeist to ransack more houses.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure this is a job we can clock out from. I figure we work on salary.
Yeah, I think Cece would shrug and just say, well, Mitchinsons are close, aren't they?
Yeah.
sounds like the way to go.
I was gonna say, I would like to say that before they leave, Delilah pokes right back into her office and just pulls out like this broadsword, really shiny silver, probably pretty like filigree and decorated and everything. Is Elda's familiar with it? Him.
Is this an obvious thing that we can all see?
Yeah, it's a giant sword.
No
It's like
scabbard.
no,
Just a loose sword.
yes. His name is Benedict.
Okay, so Isolde sees this, turns around, sees this. There's a sword joining us now.
Cece sees this, and their shoulders go up against the wall a little bit, and it's not quite a smile when their teeth are visible.
It pays to be prepared, I've found.
It's very large. I do quite like it, but
Can you hit an actual poltergeist? Is it something that's tangible enough to hit with a sword? I mean, that's a cool sword.
I mean, we'll definitely find out.
in my experience, you can't really dispense of a ghost with a sword.
Oh, this sword is something special. I'm not sure how Delilah keeps him.
I mean, she doesn't, there's not really like a scabbard per se. So I would say maybe like she has, yeah.
Dear listeners, I want you to meet Benedict, the ghost that haunts Delilah's sword. He is a grumpy one, so be ready.
At this point, I recognize the sword. Oh, Delilah! That's right, with the sword! Benedict! Oh, I'd nearly forgotten.
That woman? You sold me.
Oh dear. It's okay.
Oh, that's right. If you have the gift of interacting with ghosts, you should be able to hear the anguish yells of this tortured sword ghost.
Delilah's just standing there holding it.
Delilah is not one to hear ghosts.
You sold me to this child.
Is the sword in any way pointed towards Isolde?
No, I would say, like, if Delilah has a handle on it, it's just kind of, like, down at her side, almost being, like, propped up like a stick.
Okay. All right.
It's not pointed at anyone.
Okay.
She's just bringing it out for preparation.
So from everyone else's point of view, I guess Isolde just walks towards this inanimate sword that Delilah is holding. And, oh, well, she seemed very well equipped, and I offered to release you from this predicament, and you didn't seem particularly sold on that. I was hoping you'd be doing well.
She doesn't clean me properly. She doesn't. You have to explain to her. Look at me.
Oh,
look.
He's probably gotten a little bit of use with monsters.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I am disgusting. You have to explain to her how to clean a sword.
Okay, Isolde gets down on one knee next to the sword and kind of notices, like, a splotch of goop that has not been cleaned, and takes off this, like, little half, like, crocheted scarf thing that she has on, and just starts kind of trying to buff it out. I can talk to her. If you want to give me particular instructions on the cleaning, I can write them down. I can transfer. And
oh, that is so nice.
This is completely out loud.
That is so nice. So nice.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, that seems like a rather stubborn little spot there. I'm so sorry for the misunderstanding. I didn't realize we'd ended on a bad foot there.
We're still not good, but thank you, I guess.
We're still not good. Oh, all right. Well,
Isolda, I think you spend a little bit too much time with your antiques.
There's Delilah. There's a gentleman in this sword.
What?
Cece's mouth opens.
Yeah.
Oh.
Same with Morgan's.
I thought perhaps Cece, no? Not... She's recalling when you tried to get in her head. He's a ghost, so he's died.
No. Ghosts are... I need an alive person.
Okay. Isolde kind of... So, not people who have passed, then. Cece, that would be Benedict here.
You've named the sword?
I've not named the sword. That was his name. That's his name.
I have not named the sword, for the record.
Is the sword like? Was that person like changed into a sword? Or is
no, it's a dead man inside the sword, as if it were a place of dwelling.
Ghosts are so weird.
Is it something that you put inside this sword?
No, I didn't put. I tend not to put individuals inside vessels if they can't escape, especially if they've not asked for it. Goodness. So Benedict and I ran into each other a little while ago, and I offered to. It didn't seem particularly happy about the idea of being contained within this charming greatsword here, so I offered to release him from the vessel, but he also didn't like the idea of that, or frankly, any other idea I had ever. And so
charming. We
decided it was best that we part ways about after 36 hours, and 37 perhaps. I can't quite Benedict, do you remember 36, 37?
It was years. It had to be years. It was... What? It wasn't years, it was... hours? Oh.
Yes, I believe around 36 or 7 hours. Not years, certainly.
So you see dead people?
Oh, Jesus.
Here, mostly.
Here.
And talk.
We'll see sometimes if they like to make themselves visible to me. Here, mostly.
But we have a ghost against a poltergeist. Is that right?
Oh, would that work?
And our ghost can kill?
It is a sword. There's a lot of things that can hurt a lot of things. And silver tends to hurt a lot of things.
Cece would sort of sinuously walk their way up to the sword and kneel down next to Isolde, sort of glancing at Isolde, and hold out their hand for the sword to smell or to shake. And say, I'm pleased to meet you.
It is a sword. This is a sword.
Wait, what the fuck is she doing? What is she doing?
Then Isolde puts their hand on top of Delilah's hand on the handle and...
Please don't hurt yourself.
Shakes the sword and says hello.
Why? Well, why would you... What is this? What is she doing?
He doesn't like that. You're jostling him around like a poor little... like a popcorn kernel.
That's
fine.
Also not how you hold a pommel on a sword.
Well, I don't... anyway, hello, Benedict.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
What the fuck have you gotten me into? Who the fuck did you sell me to? What is this shit?
Sold you to someone who seemed quite professional at the time.
I'm very professional.
I should be on a high shelf, being revered, and maybe occasionally polished. But instead, I am being used to slaughter creatures, and being shaken for some reason. What is going on?
Well, it's always best to be useful, Benedict, darling.
I spent my time useful. I am done being useful. I am done being anything. I am dead, and I don't want to go inside a monster.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was just a little joke. We can talk about getting you into some sort of exhibit or something. We have plenty of exhibits in the Historical Preservation Society, but I think if I take this massive sword away from Delilah, I'm going to be in a great deal of trouble.
Please don't mess with the sword.
All right. A bit of a predicament I've got myself into here, haven't I? Well, we were headed to the Mitchinsons, weren't we?
Just a thought, though. Delilah, could you... I mean, actually, you're, like, it's cool that you have a sword. But, like, I think the police might think we're killing people. So, we should just maybe you could put it down your pants or something as we go.
What? Please, don't put me down your fucking pants.
I mean, if it's a problem, I can go and get a holster and strap it to my back. But
that might work.
We're
we
dealing with a poltergeist, so
right.
Yeah, but if we're going to see real people, like when we're gonna knock on their door at 8 p.m. and be like, "Hey, we're gonna take and grab a box." Yeah, we did need a sword for that, you know.
I have an idea. I have an idea. Does anyone have... Ooh! And Cece runs into their room and comes back with a blanket around their neck and ties it and says, I saw this movie called Lord of the Rings. We'll tell them we're doing a prototype. We're
LARPing. We're LARPing.
Well, I was thinking we could say,
what is
Happy
a LARP?
Halloween!
It's a live action role playing. It's
I mean, to be fair,
play.
Yeah, you dress up a character, you have swords, and you...
Yes, I'll get
fun.
more blankets,
Like
and I come back with
Like-
more blankets, and I give everyone a blanket to put around themselves.
I don't think we have time.
to be fair, it might not be out of place for a group called the Historical Preservation Society
We can
to have historical artifacts with them already.
Yeah, we could also say that this is coming from the last house we were at, like that what we picked on the way. Though I don't know how linked to the Titanic that would.
Oh, I'm sure plenty of people on the Titanic had swords. I mean, who doesn't love a good sword, right?
Why would you
people
bring
do
a
a lot of weird
sword
things.
on? I mean,
Sword fighting.
isn't it more shuffleboard and things?
Blame it on rich people.
Oh, but sometimes shuffleboard gets a little violent, you know.
Okay.
I would know.
Okay, so we bring the sword and we explain it. Okay, that's good.
Okay,
Let's go.
I'm gonna
or
still
we
wear
don't
my
have
cape.
to. We also don't have to explain anything until someone asks questions. So, let's try not to have another 911 call where we explain how we found a unconscious woman on a floor of a house we randomly entered.
Okay.
Good job.
Maybe, Morgan, you could leave your cell phone here, and then we won't call 911.
Cell phones are useful for plenty of things.
That's why I don't carry a cell phone.
Just to confirm, did Morgan use their cell phone when they were...
Yes.
Okay.
Because we couldn't find one of those antique telephones.
And they just panicked and like...
That's the only two we know how to use.
All right, shall we go to the Mitchinsons
Let's go.
in a very cool and strolly way?
I'm taking my Vespa this time.
So, Cece's the only one who has a cape.
Cece
Yeah.
has a cape.
Cece has a cape on.
That's a blanket.
She did offer blankets to all of you. I don't know whether you've taken them.
Zolda's just kind of got it over one shoulder. Just kind of, like, humoring a little bit, but clearly has... So, you can stop me if this is going to go way too off topic, but as they're walking, Zolda has the cape slung over one shoulder. So
And Cece is so excited that someone else has a blanket.
live action role playing.
Yeah.
That sounds like theater. How is
it is.
It is.
It's
theater.
actually more like improv because like
Improvisation theater.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
Except
do
it's
you know,
is it
like-
always Lord of the I've read Lord of the Rings. Is this
no, it's
I saw theater once.
Oh really? What did you see?
I don't know. Everyone killed each other. It was kind of sad.
Oh, likely a tragedy then. Yes.
Sounds like Les Mis.
But they wore blankets though, and they did have swords, but they didn't have a ring.
As the group chats and strolls, They find themselves nearing the Mitchinson house.
I took the Vespa.
The Vespa's just putting along with a sword strapped to your back.
After the last time, I'm taking the Vespa.
You know what? I would say that I definitely would have a TA that rides a Vespa with a sword strapped to their back. That's just campus.
I mean, that does make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone see Isolde's bike?
Mm-hmm. I'm walking it, though.
The group has arrived at the Mitchinson house. They stand tall in front of the house with a sword, a couple of capes, a Vespa, and a bike.
Does it look like there are dead people already inside this house?
No, but it's about to.
Everything's fine. We're a functioning group.
So good we got picked for this duty.
There is a reason why we were given the abandoned building.
It is dark in Reddington at this point, but the lights are on in the house. Someone is clearly home, as there is at least one car in the driveway. It does not look like someone has committed a crime.
No crime noted.
That one might go well, like the first one. You know?
I think
Maybe.
we shouldn't start with the sword, though.
No, Isolde.
Should we let...
Isolde, I volunteer you to go.
Yes.
You're volunteering
Please.
me.
Yeah.
I wasn't... that's a charming notion. All right. I'm going to walk up...
Please. Thank you.
...to the front door
Appreciate
and give it a little...
After a few moments, a middle-aged woman answers the door.
Yes, can I help you?
Yes, hi, I'm Isolde Finnegan. I'm here on behalf of the Historical Preservation Society. Some of my colleagues are just waiting down at the sidewalk. Don't...
CC waves.
They're lovely. They're just a bit, anyways. We were told for, the Titanic exhibit, we were told you had something... for us as one of the founding families.
As Isolde is explaining, she feels a shift in the air as something becomes charged with energy.
Isolde just kind of recalls what she was reading from Mercy and kind of snaps into something.
After a moment, Isolde sees a young child come running down the hall and look at her, then turn around and run back.
A human child? Okay.
A live human child?
Yes, listeners, the child is alive and appears human. I would really appreciate it if the Reddington Historical Preservation Society does not kidnap the kid.
We're not going to kidnap the child!
Unless it's evil and we need to.
Unless they're unconscious, then that might happen.
He is alive, so we don't have to worry about taking him.
Despite the comparative bias and all that, Isolde also is not so great at social cues. So kind of sees this happen and gives the kid just a...
Isolde gives the child a look as it comes back around the corner. He stares right back at her.
Looks at me in a way that says this is not a child.
With too intelligent of eyes before taking off running again. Its diaper bouncing back and forth as the chubby legs carries it away.
A little waddle.
I think, dear listeners, it is very clear this child is possessed.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's what I was... Okay, cool. So, upon seeing that look in the kid's eye, Isolde goes, "Oh, she's kind of trying to push this woman out of the house, and kind of behind her, she's going, "Do you have children?"
Yes, I have a couple. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Do you have a does your toddler like to babble around looking like it just saw something in the ninth circle of hell? Okay.
Oh, yeah, Toby likes to stare off into space all the time.
Toby
what
likes
are you
to
doing?
Toby. I'm sorry. Is it Mrs. Mitchinson?
Yes, who are you?
Your toddler's been possessed and I'm afraid we have to deal with it.
At that point, I think, we're moving forward. Well, I don't know the other ones, but Morgan's, moving forward to help with whatever Isolde
So we do need the sword.
I think getting Isolde to deal with a possessed toddler is potentially comedy gold.
After a moment, Isolde hears what sounds like a thump and a toddler starting to cry.
Unless the thing heard me say that and it doesn't want to be caught out. Well played. Well, it looks like your son's airways are certainly clear. Let's go tend.
What the hell are you doing? Please leave my house. I'm gonna go deal with my child, okay?
Okay. Go. I'm so sorry. The box of Titanic.
The woman shuts the door completely in Isolda's face.
Oh dear.
Everyone can hear the clear lock turn.
That's okay. Isolda turns back around.
Cece starts going around to the back of the house.
Immediately.
Cece, oh, goodness.
Come with. We can do. Come on.
Yes, it's not. It's. I'd rather not the child get possessed again. Let's go.
We could Are we gonna leave, or don't we need to go inside?
Oh yes. We need to tend to this. I don't want a toddler getting possessed a second time.
So let's go in the back door.
Okay. I'm going around with Cece.
What if she calls it?
And Delilah, come on. Maybe you should, I don't know, hit it with your sword.
The child?
Cece and Isolda try to go around the side of the house. As they round the side, they see a fence with a gate entrance. Beyond the gate is a stone staircase down into a backyard underneath a deck, leading to a basement door.
Is the gate open? We can just go through, like humans?
Can we go through the basement?
Yes, the gate is open.
I would like to say that I kind of want to knock on the front door after the everyone else goes.
Actually, that's brilliant.
I pull out like a notebook and everything and just look very bored.
After a long minute, Miss Mitchinson opens the door again.
Come back up, see the door's open, see Delilah's not there. Okay, just go to the door, oh, my colleagues enter. Where did you put your sword?
It's like I said, I probably went and got like a holster, and it's on her back. It looks like a sword on someone's back, but not like an obvious weapon drawn. But she has like a notebook out and a pen, and she is the epitome of bored college student.
As she opens the door, she is holding and bouncing the toddler. He has started to calm down and is playing with his mom's hair.
I really apologize, Ms. Mitchison, for coming by so late. My name's Delilah Fleece. I am with the Reddington Historical Preservation Society. Unfortunately, my co-worker has been watching a few too many movies, has a few too many coffees today. And we're just kind of picking up the donations for our Titanic exhibit, and I will be talking with her later.
Yeah, fine. There's a box right over there.
She points towards a dark dining room.
Go ahead and grab it. I gotta give this one a bottle.
Of course. Is there a specific list of what's in the box so we can make sure that when we do return the exhibit that we have everything accounted for?
I'll have my husband send over the list.
So yeah, this definitely isn't a trap, so.
As Delilah goes inside for the box, Morgan pokes their head around the door for a look. After a moment, they see a hazy ghost form right behind Delilah's back.
Holy shit. Delilah, behind you!
The shock of hearing someone behind them was enough to break the ghost's concentration. They were too focused on potentially possessing Delilah that they were startled.
Startled me too. And the lady went upstairs, right?
Miss Mitchinson is feeding the baby his bottle.
Okay. So what probably happened is, Delilah hears Morgan calling. She, one hand on the box, the other hand is, whipping out Benedict.
Morgan comes forward to, step inside because they're not just gonna stand there at the door, behind you, and I'm just gonna stand there. No.
Oh, no. Benedict is definitely awake again and yelling about the poltergeist that he can definitely see.
Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? Hey, what is that? Hey, what's that?
He's like, I wish I was with someone who can hear me, but also I hate the only person who can hear me.
I don't like that. Yeah, please go away. Hey, why aren't you making it go away? Hey.
Delilah and Morgan now have the box.
I say as we, leave, hopefully loud enough for the people in back, Thank you, Mrs. Mitchison. We will have this on display as soon as possible.
Listeners, as much as Delilah is trying to give Isolde and Cece a heads up, maybe we should go check on them.
The closer Isolde gets to the back door, the more she's starting to mumble stuff to herself, like, starting to think this might not be the best way to go about this.
If you are looking off and to the side, I think that your Cece would sort of be like opening the probably open screen door and like rattling the latch and realizing this isn't going to work. And so makes a split decision and turns themselves into a fly and finds a little opening, you know, under the like the dust cover type thing, like a gnat type fly, like teeny tiny, and goes under the door and then very proudly becomes themselves and opens the door to Isolde and goes very quietly, ta-da, ta-da.
Isolde just stares, mouth agape,
and then says, it was open.
I've never seen anything quite like that.
You didn't see. No, I opened the door and then turned around and said, ta-da.
Cece.
So, what?
As the two are standing here with the door open, they see car lights from the road swing by and pull into the driveway. After a moment, they can hear the front door open again and a much heavier footstep come in. Isolde and Cece did not hear Delilah as she yelled about leaving.
Cece hears this. Cece says very quickly to Isolde, sort of grabbing Isolde's wrist, not in a bruising way, but just in a like urgent way, and says, "Mom, do you need to be inside or outside this house?"
Sorry, can I get that one more time? Because all I heard, like, all Lauren heard was "mom," and then I'm so sorry. I heard "mom," something.
To be
house.
fair, that would probably be the only word going through Isolde's head too.
Yeah.
Do you need to be inside or outside this house? Do we need to go inside?
Inside.
Okay. And then Cece just takes Isolde, sort of like, you know, pulls her inside, closes the door, puts her back up against it, looks at Isolde as best can in the dark, and then actually lets go of Isolde and says, I hope this is okay, and thank you. That was I didn't want to do the other thing.
What? What?
But don't worry. I can, if anything happens, I will get us out of here. Okay? Let's save the baby.
Oh, let's save the baby. And then do we see the source of the heavier footsteps?
Isolde and Cece watch the ceiling as they can hear that the dad has come home and is putting stuff down in what is his home office before heading towards the kitchen. It is definitely an unfinished basement.
Cool. I know the exact type. I lived in a house with one.
Isolde's going to, again, tune in to see if the spirit's gone with the baby or if it's around us. Shakes her head just a little bit put off by the whole circumstance.
Cece turns to Isolde and just sort of quietly says, "We need to go upstairs?" Yeah?
I can't tell.
The two are standing in what looks like a media room. There are large fluffy couches, a big TV, even a bar area. The room off to the side has a large freezer and what looks like random knickknacks and storage. It does not have a door. This is definitely the unfinished part of the basement. As they take in their surroundings, they hear some rattling coming from the objects nearby. What they do not notice is the appearance of a door on the wall behind them, where faint sounds of tools can be heard. The door disappears before they turn back around.
Cece looks at Isolde, sort of with a yes-no type thing.
And Isolde just looks at her. I think we ought to take cover.
There are stairs up to the ground level floor. So Cece grabs Isolde and pulls her around under the stairs, where it's very quiet. And I was about to say, looks at her mom. I'm so sorry, Isolde. I'm just gonna follow my natural.
It's so good. It's so good.
looks at her mom and just says, "That's where the thing is, right? So it's not always in this baby?"
It's definitely not always in the baby. That'd be rather inconvenient for it. Right. Oh, they're gonna hear me no matter what. It's kind of, if they want to.
Could you trap it in something?
Oh, I mean, for safety.
And Cece reaches into her pocket. If Cece might have a last piece of the whiskey glass that she stuffed in her pocket, would this do?
A tad bit on the small side. I mean,
okay.
If we had time, I could go back to my house and pick out a lovely doll for it.
No. Oh, is that? Do you have a? We can talk about it later.
Oh, goodness. Sometimes I say things without meaning to.
Shh. Okay, what are we gonna do?
We're going to. I'm sorry. I'm just scanning my. Yeah, I've got nothing. I've got shit. Do I see anything in the vicinity that I know could do the trick?
The final room of the basement contains kids' toys and a gym. It looks like a place to let kids play while Mom gets some exercise in.
Okay.
No. Cece, did you say a doll?
Yes, and she, like, crouches and does, like, her best apart. She's not a very, she doesn't move as well as she used to. So she kind of does a quick kind of jolt from under the stairs into that room. And
actually, Cece grabs her around the waist and pulls her back into the thing and just says, "Point to it."
And I think if the only thing that Isolde can see from the door into the playroom is a Barbie doll.
Okay, so if you point to the Barbie doll, okay, so Cece says, "Okay, I'll get it. Do not hate me."
What?
And turns into a cat and paces over into the room and picks up the Barbie doll with the mouth and then just paces back to under the stairs and then sits down and spits out the Barbie doll and looks up at Mom and
I don't see why I don't see why I'd hate you, but what did explain?
And the kitty cat nods and sort of pats the hand with their paw.
Right. All right. So, Isolde kind of takes the Barbie doll.
What kind of Barbie doll is it now?
Malibu Barbie.
I feel like it's a naked ratty.
Oh, Barbie doll.
Maybe the head is like twisted totally backward, or like as well.
Is it a little melted?
There's Sharpie marker eyeliner on it, and she's looking at it. And she's going,
"It's been a little chewed."
Yeah.
By more than just Cece.
And she's, she kind of looks at it and she goes, "Well, not the loveliest of vessels, but we're not in the loveliest of company." And this is not the first time she's done this. She's done this a few times. She almost always does it upon request of a spirit, right? So I think the thing that's not computing with her right now is how to do it without the spirit's cooperation, because it's always been kind of like a mutual thing that she can just help them. And normally I think she has to do it with a few supplies that she has back home. So I think she's going to turn to Cece actually and say, I don't know if I can do this here, but if we can lure it out somehow.
Cece, becomes themselves, but I will say they are suddenly only 3 feet tall and themselves. No, not a baby, just themselves and 3 feet tall.
Just themselves shrunk. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so that they can say, "Great, what do you want me to be? I can make it come outside and follow us. It can chase me. I can become a lot of things."
Can you a raven tends to do the trick.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not usually a bird, but yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I mean, I did fly in here. I mean, we could talk about it later, okay? Tonight, over popcorn.
It's truly startling, Cece. We are going to have to talk about it.
I'm so sorry.
No need to be sorry. I'm no, dear. That my.
Shh. I can't do this. I just need to be a raven.
Breathe.
Only 2 eyes?
Only 2 eyes, 2 wings.
Anything else you need? Blood or anything? What do you want me to do?
without the spirit's cooperation and without her supplies, she's likely just going to piss it off. And so she's looking to lure it out and get it back to her ideally her place, mainly somewhere where this family and baby are not. So the raven was a distraction, a lure. I just kind of went associated with death, might be able to lure it out. That was my thought process.
Cece starts growing closer back to her natural height and actually goes through several sort of transmogrifications in terms of feeling more confident, and is holding Isolde's hands really tight and kisses Isolde's hands and then steps out.
It is important to note that Delilah, Morgan, and Mr. Mitchinson, whose name, it turns out, is Professor Charlie Harvey, didn't notice any of what is about to happen. Because, as it turns out, Morgan TAs for Professor Harvey and immediately started talking with him. It sucks for them because what's about to happen is so badass.
And he is 6'6" with that beautiful beard back again and calls out, "Hey, motherfucker! Follow me!" And then pulls open the door with a huge slam, gives 2 middle fingers, turns around, and flies off into the night as like a 6-foot wingspan raven.
I love that. Oh, God, it's so good.
Thank you for listening to Once Upon a Monster of the Week. Reddington's monsters are controlled by Meg Griffin, and episodes are edited by Alex Lavelle. A special thanks to Red Griffin for taking my horrific ideas and making them even more terrifying. Thank you also to Michael Sands and Evil Hat for the Monster of the Week gaming system used in this podcast. We will be back in 2 weeks to meet up with our neighborhood watch group. Until then, you can find links in our show notes leading to both the podcast and actors' social media accounts. Please also check out our Patreon. Even for $1, you can get some exciting things, like donating your name to our town roster. Or you can find some cool merch in the Reddington Tourism Shop. We do know that money is tight, so if you're enjoying the show, we would just appreciate it if you could leave us a rating and/or review wherever you listen to podcasts. Once Upon a Monster of the Week is part of Haunted Griffin Entertainment. Please check out our website for more of our shows. Today's episode starred
Emily C.A. Snyder playing Cece Stratos.
Alice Hart as Delilah Fleece.
Lauren Tucker as Isolde Finnegan.
Cam Clark as Morgan Lapointe Evans.
And today's guests include Gina Moravec as Mrs. McFadden, Stephanie Cortez as Miss Mitchinson, Mick Wheaton as the 911 operator, and Red Griffin as Artie Jackson.